For 8 years, the people of Adamawa State had suffered gross deception in that the government had claimed to make education its first, second and third priorities only paid lip service to the sector. Granted, a few schools located in urban centers were renovated, a few favored teachers were granted vehicle loans, and a new university was established, but that was how far the changes went. Deep down, it was all hollow. Infrastructures had so decayed that students were learning under trees and sitting on stones. So ridiculous was the situation that at the time we could capture students reading computer under conditions that was anything but conducive.
We are expected that when our computer has been to be assembled, you are the one to select the programs, you are the one to select the windows.
It was ironic that a 21st century subject was taught under a primitive situation. This is just one out of several contradictions that characterized the era that was the most unfortunate in the history of Adamawa State. Greater emphasis was paid to sloganeering than concrete action. While the politicians were talking, infrastructure broke down, severe shortage of teachers was experienced, and laboratories were non-existent. A survey among some students in the public schools on the presence of libraries in schools indicated that over 90% of them have never seen or even heard of libraries. A retired school administrator who was interviewed by this program summed up the situation in the following words: "Education is the driving force of progress and development in the world over. When deception is involved in education, decay sets in. This is the reality." The sight of school children in schools playing happily or listening to their teachers is indeed a welcome one for any society in search of a brighter future. Our children are our most valued assets. Every asset develops when value is added to its worth. How do we add value to our children? We can only do this by investing in education, quality education for that matter. This was the focus of Governor Murtala Nyako when he assumed power in May 2007. Governor Nyako said, "We had the opportunity and privilege to have the best education. Therefore, we must create avenues to give the same. I shall not rest until every child in Adamawa State gets the same opportunities for education as I had when I was a child. We must secure a brighter future for our children." Right from primary school to tertiary institutions, the goal has been the same: provide access to quality education to the greatest number of children without adding cost to the parents. At the primary level, the target is to have pupil-friendly schools. At the secondary level, quality teaching and learning are the focus, while at the tertiary level, producing quality manpower is also the focus. To supervise and superintend the proper functioning of education, a renowned educationist and school administrator was appointed the Honorable Commissioner for Education. He is Dr. Rekab E. Bongi. Dr. Bongi came to the education sector from a background that knows only quality service in promoting knowledge and scholarship. To ensure that the process is anchored on total quality, Mrs. Mary Mamansawa was appointed Executive Secretary Post-Primary Schools Management Board, while Dr. Liman Tukur was returned as Executive Chairman Primary Education Commission. Together, these icons of educational development became poised to ensure total quality and service delivery. What were the present problems confronting the education sector at the time the new government came to power? We put this question to Dr. Bongi, and this was his response.
When we came in, there was arrears of examination bodies to the state government like NECO and WAEC. And people were itching as to how their children will get their results so that they can seek for admission into university. So that is number one problem that we have got to tackle. And they were numbering about 24,000 people who sat for the exams, both NECO, WAEC, and other examinations. So the governor has to pay for this money as an essential thing.
At the primary level, the government was confronted with a number of problems. The most pressing is decayed infrastructure, particularly dilapidated classrooms. The government, through the Primary Education Commission, embarked on massive rehabilitation and construction of classrooms in primary schools across the state. The goal of providing pupil-friendly schools was pursued with vigor. Contracts were awarded, contractors mobilized to site, and work progressed at a pace never known before. One other problem confronting the Primary Education Commission was the issue of counterpart funding.
The present government did very well. It has sustained the tempo that kept Adama on the front burner among other states of the Federation in terms of accessing matching grants from the Universal Basic Education Commission in Abuja. The governor, on getting the briefing on what is outstanding, promptly released to this board the sum of 277.7 million to enable us access the third and fourth quarter 2006 matching grants.
At the secondary school level, the challenge was how to improve performance by students. It was discovered that most times the school calendar was distorted because principals could not keep boarding students for the full 13 weeks in a term. This was because the feeding allowance given to principals do not cover the full 13 weeks. More so, the amount was insufficient to provide decent meals. The government addressed the issue by increasing the feeding allowances and ensuring that it covers all the 13 weeks in every term. So vital is the issue of feeding that Executive Secretary took time to explain it.
The students' feeding subvention was about 36 million naira. Then after collecting the first installment, by the second term we were given 45 million naira. That's an increase. And recently it has been increased to 60 million naira because His Excellency felt that the feeding of the students is virtually inadequate. Therefore, he feels that if students could have good feeding, then they don't have a problem in school. And that was the reason why he had to increase it to that.
All teachers who were hurriedly employed by the departing administration at the twilight of their tenure were properly documented and their salaries paid. By mainstreaming those teachers, what the Post-Primary Schools Board has done was to raise the number of teachers in Adamawa State schools. Existing staff were evaluated and those found eligible for promotions were promoted. Instructional materials were distributed to post-primary schools in the state. These materials have been considered vital to the needs of the schools, and their presence are meant to aid teaching and learning. One area the government has tried to change things for the better is in science education. Mindful of the fact that science is a moving force in modern society, Governor Murtala Nyako embarked on a number of measures to boost science and technical education in the state. First of all, 3 pilot skill acquisition centers are established in Mubi, Yola and Mayo Belewa. These centers, which were started on virgin pieces of land, have almost been completed. A visit to any one of them will reveal the actions of a dynamic regime. The different blocks meant to serve as classrooms, workshops and administrative offices have almost been completed. The vocational training centers in all the local government areas will equally be upgraded. In addition, the sum of 8.4 billion naira is to be spent to establish 7 new science and technical colleges in the 3 senatorial districts of Adamawa State.
Governor Nyako is interested in science and technology. Quite a number of people were saying, what about the schools that were established in those days? One in Mebalwa, one in Ganye, one in Fufore, one in there. But they are all dead. None of them really got the status of a science secondary school. So that's why he has now established 7 to take care of. At least for every 3 local government, you have 1. But that does not mean that the 3 local government are the ones to be feeding the schools. No. We are going to have a standard test for those who will be finishing in JS3. Until when you score certain percentage in science, maths, English, and other subjects, you cannot get it. So we are going to have at least 3 to 10 people from every local government posted to these 7.
Other steps taken to promote science education include acquiring science equipment worth millions of naira for distribution to secondary schools in the state. At a special ceremony held to present the equipment to the public, the Commissioner for Education made the following statements.
Present administration, having visited quite a number of secondary schools, decided to award a contract for the supply of 108 sets of micro science kits for the use in our secondary schools across the state. Each set of kits consists of 8 boxes for the teaching of chemistry, physics, biology, and mathematics.
For a state and a system that had long forgotten about provision of science equipment, the sight of these equipment at a ceremony like this was indeed a welcome relief. Governor Murtala Nyako was full of fulfillment when he inspected the equipment, making sure they are of quality and value. What was apparent, though, was that more of such gestures are expected in the state. Speaking earlier, Governor Murtala Nyako delivered the following pledge.
We must do something about education at our state. I wouldn't go into the acquisition of these sets of kits the first step. We have already taken some steps. But there is no way a child can truly comprehend science without some experiment. These models are extremely important. Some of us are talented to absorb knowledge verbally, others visually. There are various ways we are talented. I have no doubt that with the little effort we are going to put and more effort from the teachers, we will have a quantum jump of at least a pass from the present 4 to 40% this year.
2 schools, General Murtala Mohammed College and Government Girls Secondary School, both in Yola, have been designated centers of academic excellence. When one went to General Murtala Mohammed College, Yola, both the principal and some of his students were full of appreciation for the attention received from the state government.
Our students and our members of staff are very happy. In fact, I don't have any words to express the joy which our students and members of staff have for the construction of this road. We thank this government, not only road but even water, a borehole that is solar driven has also been sent to us. In fact, we are very grateful.
For the school, the government had restored their dignity and prestige as the foremost school in the state. There are 3 tertiary institutions under the purview of the State Ministry of Education. All 3 have witnessed some changes since the advent of Governor Murtala Nyako as the Chief Executive of the state. The State Commissioner for Education, Dr. Reka Bongi, spoke on the progress being recorded in the 3 institutions.
College of Education, Polytechnic, and the university have got a lion's share also in the issue of accreditation. All of them are going to be accredited by January, February, March, depending on the location of the different control organization from the national. So, the government has also released money to that effect. 51 million, 58 million for Polytechnic, 51 million for College of Education, and then the same thing with Adamawa State University. So they are putting up their structures to meet some, like computer centers, sciences or laboratories and so on, in order to meet the requirements of NUC.
The College of Education Hong recently paid host to Governor Murtala Nyako. Several projects are going on in the school in addition to a generous grant given to facilitate accreditation of programs of the college. The provost of the college, Alhaji Hamidu Muhammad Maiha, spoke to us on the progress recorded in the institution since Nyako became the governor.
When he came to power, he made sure that pipe-borne water was made available to the college. A borehole was drilled, an overhead tank was mounted, and it is solar powered. So we don't have problems of repairing this, repairing that, day in, day out. Now all our laboratories, kitchens, offices, toilets, we can now boast of water. Unlike before, we use only wells. So this is one of the outstanding achievements of this administration in this college. And both the staff and students have appreciated it very well. On the welfare of staff, our 22% HATIS was pending. His Excellency was able to settle that and even pay the arrears in December. So that has greatly boosted the morale of our staff.
The sinking of a borehole at the College of Education Hong is meant to serve dual purposes. One is to provide clean water to the college community. 2, it saved the staff and students from taking dirty water from streams. The borehole is indeed a welcome relief to the institution. At the State Polytechnic in Yola and Numan campuses, one cannot fail to witness positive changes that have taken place. Blocks of buildings have been renovated and money released for full arrangements towards the accreditation of programs run by the institution. No doubt the institution is wearing a new look. At the State University, work has resumed at the sites that include the new science laboratory complex, the gate and the 30 housing units. With increased funding and the fact that the university now receives its due in full, more developments are in the offing. This is opposed to what obtains in the past, when what gets to the institution was less than what was contributed by the local governments. In all, the 3 institutions are expected to raise standards and improve on their infrastructural base. To attract the lecturers and other support staff from across the country and the world, the pay package and other welfare matters in the 3 tertiary institutions have been enhanced and made to conform to what obtains in similar institutions across the country. In order to ensure that Adamawa State indigenes studying in all tertiary institutions across the state feel the impact of the change in the state, government ensured that the scholarship board has been revived and funds released for the payment of scholarships to deserving students. The Executive Secretary, Adamawa State Scholarship Board, Hajia Maria Adamu, speaks further.
So far, the government has done everything for us. They gave us the money, we have started paying. We hope to complete payment by the end of this month. We started with the Maiduguri zone, which we completed, then went to Zaria zone to complete. And we hope to start the Yola zone by Monday next week, inshallah.
The State Commissioner for Education, Dr. Reka Bongi, has expressed government determination to ensure that the quality and standard of education in Adamawa State meet standards required anywhere in the world.
Manpower development is very essential in education because education is an investment. If you don't invest in education, that is what Governor Nyako is always talking about, investment. If this, our state, don't invest in these young people we see, within the next 5-10 years, there will be a problem to us. But if we invest our money in them, you will discover that the turnover will be better than what it is. Let us train them today so that the future will be good for us.
The ministry has vowed to make Adamawa State students competitive nationally and internationally at all levels. This is the only way to secure a brighter future for Adamawa State and her people.